Today, I'm going to build the weirdest illegal LEGO minifigures from level 1 to level 100. And LEGO would never make these minifigures, so stay tuned because things are gonna get cursed. Anyways, LEGO. Now LEGO makes a lot of minifigures, but you have to buy them in these really expensive sets. And to buy them separately is even more expensive. So anyway, I logged onto the dark web and bought all the illegal LEGO I could find. Now all we gotta do is, wait, they're here. Hello, dog. There it is. Now, how am I supposed to open this? There's tape everywhere. I think we gotta go sicko mode with it. Now, this is a lot of illegal Legos. Let's take a look at some of them. Yo, it's the guy from Fortnite. Oh my gosh. Better call Saul. Now, that's a lot of Lego minifigures, so let's take a look at some of them. So the first minifigs I built were from this game called Fortnite. I don't know if you've heard of it. And honestly, I don't know any of these guys' names, but they're actually pretty cool looking. Like this guy who has an RPG and his cousin who is having some issues. We also have this girl with a mohawk and this one with a really weird looking face when you take off the helmet. But I low-key kind of like this guy with the slurp juice because he could just go over to this girl who just built a wall and then knock it over. But I think my favorites are this lollipop girl who can use her stick to beat others senselessly. And this tomato guy who can definitely get a 360 no-scope. Oh my gosh, wow, look at that! That's crazy, how'd he do that? Bro got the victory royale. Hey wait, is that a ninja minifigure?
Quit horsing around!
Alright, so I think these are pretty funny, but will Hank?
#1 victory royale.
Next I got these anime minifigures, and for those who don't know, anime are these Japanese cartoons, and here they are in plastic. First, we have this guy who looks kinda angry, and I'll be honest, I've never seen anime before, and I don't know if everyone's hair is this pointy, but it kinda hurts to touch. I think my favorite one is probably the yellow hair one, but this black one kinda reminds me of the emo teenager from the Lorax. Now for these next ones, I have to give a warning because they are extra drippy and cursed. I don't even know what I'm looking at with these. These figures look like they have Mickey Mouse's ears and some of the most disturbed printing I've ever seen on a minifigure. I mean, this one looks like it just had a bunch of not legal substances, and this other one looks like half of a Pokemon character. And I don't even know what's happening with these three. I think the best of these is probably this one, but that's probably because half of his body parts aren't just pouring out of one side. I'll be honest, these are pretty dang bad. Next, I wanted to check out some cool animals like your mom. Actually, this figure is supposed to be just a giant plastic whale, and this thing low-key looks kind of thirsty, so I'm gonna put him in the pool. Right, I'm gonna get him out. Yo, is that an Among Us? I also bought a bear that has seen some things it wants to unsee, and an alligator for Florida Man to wrangle. And also, if you want to buy your own Florida Man made of 100% real Lego, I'll leave a link in the description. And the last animal we have is a tribute to our boy Harambe. Rest in peace, bro, gone but not forgotten. And now we have another cursed fig. Oh my gosh, what is going on with this man? He has chainsaws literally everywhere. Look at his tongue. Even his dog has a chainsaw nose.
What the dog doing?
I kind of want to name this man Chainsaw Charlie because, you know. Now, do you know Godzilla? He is this giant lizard that runs around various cities and destroys them. Well, here he is as a knockoff Lego. And he comes in a couple different colors for some reason. We have red Godzilla, a blue one, a gray one, a black one, a pink one, a green one, and my personal favorite, the gold one. So now you can gather them all up together and they can fight King Kong.
Fight!
Next up is this older game called Among Us, and there are 16. Actually, 15 new sus figures. I also have these two chunky ones with large arms from my collection, but my favorite has to be Mafia Among Us. This man looks fire. But we also have a bunch of other Among Us's, like the fireman, the policeman, and the samurai artists. They're all pretty cool too. And then we have the ones that don't have arms, because you know, in the game they don't have arms. And this Lego piece also kind of looks like an Among Us alien.
Well, I don't know, man. Seeming sus lately.
This is Ninjago, a show about different flavors of ninjas fighting a variety of lizard people. Congrats, I just saved you from watching 16 seasons of a show. And since some of these guys are kind of pricey, I got some illegal Lego goods to show you. Look, we have strawberry ninja, blue raspberry ninja, and apple flavored ninja. They also have a few friends, and like I said, the bad guys are all lizards. And then there's Sensei Wu. Like, what is he even doing here? I guess my guy Generic is gonna get his boys roasted by Dank Schrader.
Goofy ninjas.
Next, I got some of the boys from the happiest place on earth, Disney World. Except, you know, all the relevant characters. But I guess all the main characters were busy because Disney was turning them all into different shapes of food. Anyway, it looks like I got Donald Duck's rich uncle and his mean nephews. And then there are these two squirrel guys with nuts and a nutsack. Pause, wait a minute.
What do you mean by that?
And while we're on Disney, here are some of the cheapest looking princesses I have ever seen in my entire life. What did they do to you, Cinderella? Okay, so apparently there's this game called Poppy's Playtime. It's about toys who took over a toy factory and kind of killed everybody. We have a blue one, a black one, a pink one, and a green one. And they come with these disturbingly human looking fingers. We thought this was a good idea. So I built the illegal set, and it comes with these ghoul-like things and a tightrope, and everything else was going fine until this giant mega minifigure I accidentally bought showed up and just kind of ruined everyone else's day. This guy is low-key kind of huge though. Now, a couple of videos ago, I built World War II in Lego, and you guys shredded me up for having inaccurate weapons. So I copped this small army of US soldiers to compensate, and they're pretty legit. And then I loaded up all the soldiers into this boat so that way they could storm the beaches. I also grabbed up a small police army loaded with weapons, shields, armor, battering rams, and attack dogs. Which is kind of ironic because all of these minifigures are illegal. And then I brought in the SWAT team to break into your house for not clicking that subscribe button. Bro, what are you doing? We gotta beat Bob the Builder in subscribers, because I'm obviously a better builder than him. Then finally, we have some really high-tech looking special ops with drones, really big guns, and really scary skeleton masks. Can you imagine how terrifying it would be to have these guys break into your house at night? But you know who really doesn't like crime? Probably famous music man Marshmello, also Batman.
You wanna get nuts? Let's get nuts.
What did he say?
And I was able to cop all of these really accurate looking Batman figures, like the Joker and Catwoman, as well as Alfred, his British butler, and these other bad guys, and even himself, you know, Batman, or Bruce Wayne. And there are two of them. To be honest though, these are pretty accurate and some of the nicest minifigures I've ever seen. So good job, criminals, you did some great work with these. So for my next set of figures, I bought 60 completely random minifigures that have no theme attached to them, like a Star Wars or Ninjago, just a bunch of normal guys. And I bought these all for $10. Building these is the worst. I hate this. And they don't even look good. They look like dog poop. 0 out of 10. I hate them. So a while ago, my friend Daly sent me some of these fake Lego figures, like a big purple Grimace and a green M&M from the Avengers movies. And now they can hash it out because apparently one of them's having daddy issues. Give me the Wii controller.
No, you give me Wii controller.
Now this game is Five Nights at Freddy's, and it's about this bear named Freddy, and I guess he runs like a Chuck E. Cheese restaurant or something. Anyway, I got him an illegal Lego. There's this brown bear one, and then there's also a yellow version of him, probably no relation to Fozzie. And there's also this yellow bird guy who is one of the most disturbed minifigures I've ever seen. I guess he's supposed to be some sort of bird with a cake. I don't know, I just get it away from me. He also has this friend who is a fox, and these other guys who are some of the most disturbing minifigures I've seen in my entire life. Like, is this a child or an animatronic? I don't know. All I know now is I'm never going to Chuck E. Cheese again. And these last figures are from the show Breaking Bad, because I know our boy Dank Schrader is gonna like them. I got this shirtless Walter White before he went bald, and he was cooking up something blue with his boy Jesse. And of course, you know, they need their lawyer, so they better call Plastic Saul. Hi, I'm Republic Studs. Did you know that you have rights? Well, you probably don't, but hit that subscribe button and you will. Anyway, we gotta bust out our last minifigure, and it is, of course, the man himself, Dank Schrader. They made an illegal minifigure of a guy who arrests people for crimes. How? Well, now we can find out what he actually is going to think about our illegal minifigures. So take it away, Hank.
Hey, you sussy backers. Hank here from my pal Republic Studs. I heard the boys want me to look at some illegal Lego figures. I'm gonna see if they are sus or not. Listen, I love hopping on Xbox for a game of Fortnite with the boys. These figs are cringe. I mean, I don't know, Studs. These Among Us Legos are seemingly sus. Sussy-gussy, if you know what I'm saying. Looks like a generic stud that tried sneaking in his goofy ninjas into a Republic Stud vid. L plus ratio. For real, I want to look at the rest of these illegal Lego figures. I want to see these hot ones. That all looks pretty good, man. And that Dank Schrader is the most sexy Lego I've seen in my life. Subscribe to Republic Stud, and remember, Don't very bad.
This is a cursed Lego minifigure, this is 10 cursed Lego minifigures, and this is 100 cursed Lego minifigures. And today I'm going to challenge myself to create 100 of the dumbest and most inappropriate Lego minifigures using real and specialty parts I bought. From this guy with a really weird head, a man with his guts spilling out, and even a custom Lego Stephen Hawking. But there's a twist. By the end of this video, I'm going to build some of the biggest and most impressive Lego sets ever made to defend these 100 cursed minifigures from my 6-year-old cousin who's really good at destroying Lego. So let the challenge commence. The first minifigure I built is a naked scribble-faced cowboy. I took the bad cop alternate face and put it on this especially cursed Lego printed gut. Then I grabbed some Lego people colored pants from my collection and put it on, and it makes him look naked. Oh, we gotta censor that, that's too much. Then there was this cowboy just innocently minding his business in his Wild West town when Scribbleface came out of nowhere and ate him, then stole his arms and took his hat. And now we have this abomination of a man I'm naming Sheriff Scribbles. Now I love minions, and I want to take Lego Gru and make him cursed. So first I robbed Pinocchio of his head, then I popped it onto this torso with the scarf, then I tried making him tall with these 1x1 pieces and grabbed some 1x1 studs to make him thick. And now we have a fully functioning, tall Gru who doesn't need to steal the moon because his butt's already the size of one.
I sit on the toilet.
And this is a generic Lego SpongeBob. After looting my minifigure parts, I turned him into what SpongeBob would look like if you stretched him out and added a head on top of him, because the Lego head colors match SpongeBob. And I also wanted to make him a friend like Squidward, so I took this disturbing looking one from 2006 with a very scary print and put the new Squidward head on without replacing the old one. And now we have this weird double-faced mutant Squid Man who will totally haunt you at night. Ringing splasher. And these are two old man Muppets from the Muppet Show, and I'll be honest, there's nothing worse than seeing a shirtless old guy. Put a shirt on!
Leave us alone, kids.
Sir, put that thing away, there are children here.
Oh, what?
I built up a hot tub and put in some blue studs for water, then we placed the old boys in. And now they can hide themselves from the public. One of the most cursed things on the internet these days is Skibbity Toilet. It's a saying head that pops out of a toilet when you try to use the bathroom. So I built this abomination starting with a toilet build, then I just placed the head in the center of it, and now you have a Skibbity Toilet. And this next one is also pretty skibbity because it is a radio head. These guys wear suits and have a radio for a head. That's it. I know nothing else about these guys. This is the figure. Next I got the Little Mermaid minifigure and swapped out her tail for some dinosaur legs with a giant tail. Then I put on his face with some really bushy eyebrows and this disturbing head. Proves an abomination. Now please keep these things away from me. Now there's this company Citizen Brick known for making really cursed Lego minifigures and molding special pieces that look like your average Walmart customers. So let's open up their box and see what we got. So first we have this tall Furby, which is supposed to look like those weird bird toys with a really tall head, a skeleton rib cage with bird feathers and jean short shorts and really giant hands. Wait, what? The hands are honestly big enough to hold a Lego baby Jesus with full beard microfigure and a microfigure baby shark. I guess this is the new babysitter. Citizen Brick also made this guy named Invisible Man. You can see all of this guy's guts, bones, muscles, and even brains. This minifigure is also really expensive and costs over $300 on eBay. This next one is Stephen Hawking. And I'm gonna be honest, this one might not even be cursed. But is it offensive? Probably. Comes with its wheelchair, a bunch of cool games to play like Space Invaders, and an especially out-of-pocket head mold. The reason I like this is because you can stand and do a bunch of things you can never do before. And this has to be one of my favorite figures. This is a Patrick Bateman minifigure from the movie American Psycho, and also literally me. He comes with a clear trench coat and an axe, so that way when he takes out the Skibbity Toilet, his clothes will still be clean. Citizen Brick also molded those wavy arm guys you see on the side of the road at car dealerships. Like this one I bought of a broken and depressed looking Kermit the Frog. What did they do to bro? And also this 18-pack gym bro who definitely skips arm day, but especially skips leg day. And what's worse about these guys is they can actually be used as heads on Lego minifigure torsos. Is this not the worst abomination you've seen in your whole life? Maybe not, but this one is. It's a balding Lego Italian man, also known as a mobster who kills people. I caught Mr. Soprano with 3 of his friends who are totally ready to go all out and beat you up on a street corner for not pressing the subscribe button. Hey bud, you should subscribe or my friend over here is gonna have some issues with you. So subscribe if you don't want to be beat up by these good fellas. And speaking of death, the Titanic was a tragedy and also a Lego set that I bought, which is huge. And in the movie Titanic, this character Rose chilled on top of a door that was floating while her boy Jack was sinking in the water. Rose, can you let me on? There's only room for 1. The door says room for 2.
I am under the water. Please help me.
Hey, is that an RV? I think it is. And it looks like my favorite chemistry teacher is chilling over there with some blue crystals. I'm actually gonna pair him up with Stephen Hawking so that way they can do experiments together.
Last chance to look at me, actor.
There are also 2 more of those baby figures, like this tattoo baby who says mom on him, and a blockhead baby. And they're all gonna chill with our tall Furby bro. Would you leave your child with him? Now, since my cousin is coming over and will definitely try to destroy all 100 of our boys, we'll need to set up some defenses. So I got a freaking castle. And we're gonna build it up and use it as a defensive base for all our Lego figures. It also comes with 22 figures, so I can turn cursed. For our next figure, I need to build a king. So I grabbed this simple soldier, popped his head off and put on a cape, then I gave him a haircut, and now he's Borat.
King in the castle, king in the castle. Have a chair, I have a chair.
Now I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of the queen minifig that comes in this set. So I grabbed this old-timey Victorian lady and swapped her face out with this cursed clown head. And I have to say, she did a pretty good job with her makeup. Now the next minifigure is the wizard, and I want to turn him into a bishop. Yeah, like in chess. So I popped his head and beard off, and then placed it onto this college graduate minifigure. And then I took the wizard's staff, took the diamonds off, and added some brown hands, and now he's a bishop.
My powers will compel you.
And next up, I grabbed this kid to use as a pawn. So I went to my head collection and found this really disturbing face. I popped it on. How did this ever get made? And next I took this black and blue soldier and one of the first ever editions of a Lego minifigure. And you'll notice they don't have arms. So I popped the torso onto his legs and then gave him a new silver helmet.
'Tis but a scratch. A scratch? Your arm's off. No, it isn't.
And now we have one of each piece you would need on a chessboard. I also wanted to make an archer, but instead of doing the furry one from Disney, I made this one a different kind of furry. Hopefully this doesn't stay in your nightmares. Now there are a bunch of soldiers and people throughout the castle, and I want to try to make them as cursed as possible. Starting off, this one's pretty simple. I swapped out this simple soldier with a giant blue head and hands. A medieval soldier being a weird alien is not the weirdest thing to happen. And this is a stash box. Basically, the company that made all those cursed minifigures also makes this mystery box where you get some of the weirdest, most cursed Lego items you've ever seen. They included a guitar pick in this. And it had a bunch of unique parts, so I'm gonna try to make them into unique minifigs. Like this double-headed guy. He's black and white and really scary. What's even scarier is the skeleton in the cell turning into a giant baseball. This is actually really funny and one of the most disturbing Legos I've ever seen. Let's hope nobody hits him with a bat. And this is a Julius monkey, and this is your everyday grocer. Now what would happen if you turned it into Julius the monkey? Well, I guess this would happen. I also took this really heavily armored knight with flags and a bucket and a whole backpack by first getting rid of his head and his hands, then swapping them out with these green ones. So now he may very well have the largest head and hands of any minifigure ever. And this is what you're gonna look like if you don't press that notification bell. One of my favorite ones to make is Underwear Man. He's like the wacky wavy arm man from earlier, but this time he has a hairy chest with underwear. And we're gonna use him as a face for that guy who owns a cow. When I said things were gonna be cursed in this video, I meant cursed. I also made a double-headed lava guy, and for this guy I took his axe and turned it into a stick, and his face and turned it into a reindeer. What in tarnation? This will actually haunt my nightmares. One of my favorites is this old maid lady, because when I popped off her head, I put on this giant minifigure head that looks completely oblivious. Oh, and I put some ice cream in the cup. Those sprinkles actually make that low-key look kind of tasty. Wah wah. I also made a Christmas tree man with this exclusive part, and I wanted to use the rest of the parts from Woody, so I also popped his head onto a soldier. And then I loaded the castle up with all of the minifigures we just built because defense is very important. So I popped the chef's head off and placed it on this War Machine torso with an armor extension from a Star Wars character, and then I gave him some backpack details, like this extra gun, a calculator, and a little chef's spindle. And to make him extra cool, I gave him this epic minigun. I'd honestly be scared to mess with this guy. Now let's see what the Swedish chef thinks about that.
What do we have here? Oh, hey, little chef. Oh, very good. Oh, nom, 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 nom.
I'd say that's pretty epic. But you know who else is epic? Abraham Lincoln and Batman. And it's pretty easy to just take off Batman's head, replace it with Abraham Lincoln's, and boom, now you have a President Batman. This guy's trying to figure out how many heads I can attach to a minifig. And to start, I put on a specially molded double head, so that way we can hold double the heads. And after stacking them all on, I was able to stack up about 28 heads in his hand. That's almost outrageous looking, and it wouldn't really stand without studs. Also, it's kind of weird how it looks like a giant V. Next, I need to have a Skibbity toilet drinking a Grimace shake in a McDonald's with Grimace. Here it is, and this might be the new most cursed thing I've ever seen. All right, now we got to do a cursed Glizzy figure. And I took the Glizzy baby from Citizen Brick and put him on this native torso. And I wanted to give him the head guard, but I think he looks cooler with the hot dog costume. I also put a Glizzy in his hand, and he's gonna do everything he can to stay away from the This is a chicken, and this is a businessman. What do you get when you combine them? A chicken businessman. Next are these conjoined twins sharing a Starbucks cup, Florida Man being combined with Blocky McBlockface, and Blocky McBlockface being combined with Florida Man. Okay, this is actually creeping me out a little. I'm also selling Florida Man on my website, if you want to buy one. And for number 56, we have the guy from Fortnite, Mr. Beast. Hey look, it's the guy from Fortnite. Next, I made Benny from the Lego Movie, but with muscles. And for the last one, I was told to make a most cursed detective minifigure I could come up with. So I copped the new detective minifigure and put on a citizen brickhead that looks like it's bleeding black. And his microscope actually works. Speaking of, it's a bit of a mystery why you're not subscribed yet. So now that we have fan choices built up, I'm gonna need a new place to put all these figures. So how about building the largest Lego skyscraper ever designed? So I got another castle. And this just so happens to be the largest Lego skyscraper ever. So let's build. This thing is awesome. This thing's half as tall as me. It already has someone trying to jump at it. Probably because we're about to make all of the minifigures in this set cursed. And there are a lot of them. First, the Hulk. And since Yoda has the same color as him, I put his head on and now he looks really disturbed. But I might use his head later. Next is the guy who was jumping out of the building, Iron Man. And I turned him into Iron Lung. And there are actually 3 Iron Mans in this set. So we made the other ones Iron Woman and Tin Man. They're all different kinds of metals. Please clap. And this is Captain America, my favorite Avenger. I knew we had to make him pretty special. So we caked him up, gave him an American flag, and a cool shield with the face on it. Cap, that's America's stud. And since there are 2 Captain Americas in this set, I made Captain Underpants. I also wanted to see what Thor would look like if he was hit by a bolt of lightning, and well, here he is. And then I took a wrinkly old guy and replaced him with the face of the CEO of Marvel. Bro's got a coffee and a shawarma. We also have Nick Fury, who might or might not be a covert Jedi, and is missing his right hand. Oh, and did I mention he has a lightsaber? And here's one of the most useless Avengers, Hawkeye. You might be wondering why he has an eye patch. Because he shot an arrow and it bounced back into his eye. And then we have Black Unwidowed, because she's gonna get married. Oh, how sweet. Instead of the Hulk smashing Loki, I turned the Hulk into Loki. Yeah, this looks a bit precarious. Hulk, god of mischief. And there are 18 more figures in this set we have to make cursed, so I'm gonna speed round them. I made all the Chitauri zombies, which are already pretty cursed. I turned 2 of the security guards into Minecraft characters, and I turned Iron Man's security guard into a dog. I also made Vision Fluffy, made this bug lady into an extraterrestrial, and made Wong need some more clothes. And then I made everyone else into cursed Looney Tune characters. Or just making a version of them if they were to fall off the building and splatter all over the ground. Bugs and Daffy look dapper, but my favorite is Speedy Gonzales. He looks like a grandma after a spray tan. And now that we have a bit of a city going, I want to have some street vendors. And speaking of cities, you know those cursed costume guys you see when you go into New York? Yeah, those. How about we build them in Lego? Let's build Elmo, Cookie Monster, Winnie the Pooh, and Mickey Mouse. It's pretty easy because you just pop a face in and they all kind of look like they're on depressants, like in real life. This is like when you ask your mom to go to Disney World and she says we have Disney World at home. And for our last 7, I'm gonna have some of my friends pick out what cursed minifigures we should do, including Evan Tube. So let's start with my friend Nick. All right, Nick, so what kind of cursed guy are we gonna make?
I don't know, I'm more of a big figure kind of guy, you know, I like the big dudes. I think we should try to put a cape on this guy.
All right, so I grabbed the Lego Man and the big fig of Harry Potter, popped his arms off, and then swapped it out with Lego Man. Bada bing, bada boom, he looks like an average Redditor. And now I have some suggestions from my YouTuber friends.
What up, Republic Studs? I want you to build a duck riding a brick separator like a surfboard on a wave.
Hey Studs, try building a minifigure that's doing the worm, except the worm is really, really long.
What's up, channel editor Blitz here. I want you to take a Tauntaun, a Rancor, and a Wampa. First add the Wampa arm onto the Rancor, then put the Tauntaun arm on the hand of the Rancor, and then just mix the rest of the pieces together. Please make this easy so I can edit it.
Build me a winged creature with the 3 heads of Yoda, Fozzie Bear, and Catwoman playing ping pong against John Cena.
And his name is John Cena!
Yo, what's up? It's Evan Tube. For your next cursed minifigure, I'm gonna have you do a pig wearing a top hat, wearing a jetpack, wearing maybe let's go with a purple shirt and blue jeans. I'm just curious to see how this is gonna turn out.
And this is all 100 minifigures. I'm actually really proud of how this came out. This is the most impressive thing I've ever built, but now it's time to get my cousin and show him this incredible Lego thing I just built.
Okay, Hudson, are you ready to go see my new Lego set?
Yes.
You're not gonna destroy it, right?
No.
All right, Hudson, what do you think of that? Wanna come see it? You like it?
Yeah.
Good. What are you doing there? No. What are you doing? Oh my, dude! Oh my god! No, 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 no! No, no. No, no, stop. Oh, no, okay. No, no. Why do you do that? Alright, so the castle took most of the beating, but the tower pretty much survived.
Bye-bye.
This is a cursed Lego Darth Vader. These are Death Troopers, and this is a disturbed Squidward Yoda. And today I went to the website Citizen Brick and bought a bunch of weirdly molded heads and printed torsos, from a really disturbing Jango Fett to a clone trooper lacking clothes. But there's a catch. By the end of this video, I have to create an alternate timeline where no character in Star Wars is safe, from the prequels and originals to shows and even the sequel trilogy. With that said, hit that subscribe button because we're trying to go for 175,000 subscribers and Lego. So to start off, we need to make some original characters. So we have the chosen one, Darth Vader, who I turned into Dad Bod Vader. He has a tattoo that says Mom on it, and he definitely doesn't like it when you take off the helmet. We also have his mom, who is dead, because, you know. And we also have his wife, Padme, who's also dead, because, you know. Geez, Anakin. We got Princess Leia, who certainly looks like she's seen better days.
You stupid.
And we have her brother Luke, who's just seen her. That definitely wouldn't be complete without the loyal droids R2-D2, that looks extremely irritated, and also C-3PO, who's now a Muppet. Honestly, that's probably one of the least surprising things here. One big happy family. Also, Han Solo's kind of ticked for not being allowed in the family photo. At least Chewie has a family. Han's an orphan. Speaking of orphans, here's one that doesn't like sand very much. Specifically, I am talking about Anakin Skywalker. This version of Anakin has been completely consumed by sand.
I don't like sand.
He ended up getting picked up by this Jedi Master named Qui-Gon Jinn and this Padawan Obi-Wan Kenobi. But that Qui-Gon guy ended up dying to a Sith named Darth Maul, who I dressed up as Captain Hook, because it makes him look 10 times more epic. And now also Obi-Wan can fly to cut his hand off, just like in the movie. Oh wait, no, he cut his legs off. Captain Hook and Darth Maul kind of got a lot in common. After all that, Obi-Wan brought Anakin back to the Jedi, and he got to meet some cool masters, like Squidward Yoda, who's also always ticked. The Force we must use. Will you go use the dark side somewhere else? We also have Mace Windu as a cowboy, a blue Muppet Jedi, and one who already looks cursed as is, so I dressed him up as a hot dog. And these guys don't want Anakin hanging around this weird Palpatine guy, because he's a bad influence, and they gave him a Padawan who's orange named Ahsoka. She kind of looks like a Disney character. I also made a version of her as a drummer because it looks kind of absurd. And in the first battle this war, Cowboy Mace Windu cut off Jango Fett's head, and then two more just randomly popped up, alongside an entire clone army which showed up to save the Jedi from Count Dooku. He's a spiffy guy who talks like a true gentleman, so I gave him the monocle.
Lollipops.
And the clones came in to save the rescue. We have a one-eyed Cyclops clone, a Cookie Monster clone, a Ripped clone, a SpongeBob clone, and even some Iron Man clones. But how can I forget the Chick-fil-A clone? Also this one. This one's down bad. And it also turns out his master is that fat guy from earlier, Papa Palpatine. Anyway, they taught a ton of bad guys during the Clone War, from Sad Bane to General Grievous. Anakin and Ahsoka fought alongside Captain Rex, who is going for that T-Rex vibe, as well as Candy Corn Commander Cody and Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan also fought the skeleton robot man named Grievous, who is actually made out of a skeleton. Probably doesn't take too much work to pop him. It was all fun and games, except for when Anakin would have to take out a small group of Tusken villagers for killing his mom. No, Anakin, not the women and the children too. It also kind of sucked whenever a random clone just died. No, not that guy. And things started to go downhill when Papa Palpatine, who turned out to be evil, went to get some chicken nuggets. Sir, how many nuggets do you want? I want to order 66. It will be done, my lord. No, not yet. No, wait. After that, everything went wild. Papa Palpatine got in a fight with Cowboy Mace Windu and threw him out the window. The Clone Boys started to turn on the Jedi and a bunch died. Rip. No. Also, Anakin and Obi-Wan got into a big fight, and Anakin got super messed up.
Baba Booey.
And then he took that all out on a bunch of kids. And no, Anakin, don't! Ah! Look how they massacred my boy. Like, literally, his face is melting off. And his wife gave birth to twins, and is now also dead. But hey, at least Squidward Yoda survived, so at least that's something. And so did all these guys. Next up is this dark period, where the Empire kinda just ran everything. Clone Boys all turned into stormtroopers, and these clones in a squad, the Bad Batch, which are essentially a real-life version of cursed Lego figures. And these are some of the most disturbed minifigures I could imagine. These guys have gigantic heads. This one has a gorilla costume because he kind of acts like one. This one usually wears a skull on his bandana, so I just made his entire face a skull. And Omega only has one one eye now and looks like a dude. This looks ridiculous. There were also tons of rebels and Jedi that started popping up, like Ezra, who took on Grand Admiral Thrawn. But Thrawn used his forearms to beat the crud out of Ezra and put some tape over his mouth because he wouldn't shut up. And now it is time for the OG trilogy. Remember those kids that Padme had? Now they're starting to cause some problems. One ran into Obi-Wan Kenobi, who is now old, and looks like the grandpa from Family Guy. And they all got together to meet up with Cowboy Han Solo, who got in a duel with Sheriff Greedo, who is looking for Jabba's money. We'll get to him in a bit. And they teamed up with the Rebel Alliance, which has some amazing fighters like Jet Porkin. Yes, this is a Porky Pighead on a Rebels pilot outfit. And long story short, things didn't work out so well for the Empire. Anyway, now the Empire is on the hunt for the Rebels, and Luke finds out that Vader's his dad. And when the Empire switched over to Stormtroopers, they had some new variants. One that's a police officer, from one with a really stretched out face, one that's a chef, one that's a robber, one that's Batman, and one that's James Bond. The Rebels also run into this guy, Lando Calrissian, who sells out Han Solo to this Muppet looking Boba Fett, who I actually have like an action figure of. Like, it's really weird looking. Anyway, Chewie was pretty upset at him because he gave up Han Solo. That's why he has the bloody eye. Now remember that Greedo guy? Who was his boss? This is Rada the Hutt, who is standing in for Jabba because it can't afford that minifigure because it's $1 billion. And also it's really funny looking. Dude has 4 arms. Anyway, he got his crew with Bib Fortuna, who looks like he's seen better days. T-Neck guy, as well as a Spider-Man alien. An E.T. guy. E.T. was actually in Star Wars too. Bet you didn't know that. And one of the most disturbing minifigures we have had on yet, Kermit the Frog. I have serious regret in a number of areas about this one. This is probably one of the most regrettable minifigures that will ever be made in LEGO. What have I done? Moving on, they get back to Han and Luke saves the day. Also, his dad dies, saving him. And this is Palpatine's reaction to another Death Star blowing. And it turns out the ones who are mostly responsible for the destruction of the Death Star are these angry little teddy bear people called Ewoks. I made this one into the Tasmanian Devil. Also, there's this fish face guy, Admiral Akbar, who runs a little fishing store. Anyway, the Rebels were very happy that it was over. And in celebration, I decided to make some more Rebels, like Wilro Hood. He was the guy that ran around in The Empire Strikes Back with the ice cream thing. And he also has some melting ice cream in his hand. I also had to make some minifigures from the Complete Saga game with this annoyed-looking Rebel friend figure. And how could I leave out Macho Mustache Man? But before we go to the sequels, I want to have a speed round with 10 of the most cursed minifigures I could think of. First, we have the Mandalorian with Baby Yoda in a diaper outfit. Now, Mando only has one eye, which is probably why he keeps the helmet on the whole time, and how it actually works because he can't see out of those things with 2 eyes. This is a $300 minifigure Darth Revan. I swapped his face for this disturbing gray one. We also have a big brain Gonk droid, Hawaiian Yoda, a Kaminoan who is completely shredded using the Morbius torso, and one of my personal favorites, the droid bodybuilder. Look at this little guy. I feel like he could like lift literally anything, even that Gonk droid. Now for 7 and 8, these are Stormtroopers and a Death Trooper, and I wanted to turn them into actual death, so I gave them some zombie faces, and I think it looks pretty darn scary. At 9, we have Darth Morbius, and at 10, we have his master, Darth Jar Jar, the most cursed minifigure of all. Sequel time. The first character we're introduced to in the sequels is Rey. She grew up on a water planet, which is why she's a mermaid, not a sand planet. That's been done before, twice. Anyway, she ran into this guy, BB-8, and joined the new rebellion to fight the First Order. BB-8 doesn't look that enthused about it. Also, here's Rey as a Minecraft character, because she kind of like looks like one. She met some new friends like Poe, who just had too much hot sauce, barfed all over himself, and his buddy Finn, who thought that was kind of gross. Why you bully me? And here's Rose. We don't talk about Rose. Anyway, they took on the huge new corporate empire run by Kylo Ren. I mean, Mickey Mouse, I think. Oh, and of course, General Hugs, who I made using an Ernie from Sesame Street head. Tell me this doesn't look accurate. Also, total side note, but the First Order Stormtroopers look incredibly dumb. So it wasn't that hard to change them around. I gave this one a really tall face, and I gave the other one Patrick Starr's head. First Order also had a droid named BB-9E. He's BB-8's arch nemesis. Also, surprise, surprise, it turns out that that girl Rey's grandfather is Papa Palpatine. Somehow survived. Literally in the movie, they say somehow. They don't even explain it.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
It doesn't matter. She kills him again, and everything works out just fine. And now that they've been defeated, all the cursed minifigures can come together and rejoice to tell you to hit that subscribe button, because you just sat through a whole video without subscribing. Seriously, I put a lot of work into all these, and I just want to thank you all for the continued support. Watch this video up here. Peace out, and stay awesome. Julio.